Governor Abbott calls a special session for this summer.
I want more Republican congressmen.
It may become a platform to shift more power to the GOP in Washington.
Stop this silliness as it relates to redistricting.
See, here's the thing.
A Fort Worth representative is in studio to weigh in on what comes next.
As I've said.
Then, a Trump administration official steps down to run for Texas Attorney General. Aaron writes on how he plans to continue the current mission of the state's top cop.
Deep integration with the Trump administration to advance the law and order and justice agenda here in Texas.
Plus, artificial intelligence is here. We speak with a leader in big business on how the new technology may drastically change jobs and the workforce.
This is Lone Star Politics from NBC5 and the Dallas Morning News.
Good Sunday morning. I'm Phil Prazan from NBC5.
And I'm Gromer Jeffers, political writer with the Dallas Morning News. In less than 2 weeks, Texas lawmakers will be back in Austin.
After vetoing 28 bills and signing more than 1,100 others into law, the governor called a special session to begin on July 21st. Governor Abbott wrote in part, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, Speaker Dustin Burrows, and the Texas House and Senate worked hard to send critical legislation to my desk. This session has seen monumental success, but there is more we can do. For now, the call includes regulating THC products, how people prosecute human trafficking cases, and reforms to the judicial system. Not on the agenda for now, redistricting.
You know, Phil, the Trump administration urged Texas lawmakers to redraw congressional lines ahead of the 2026 midterms. They aim to widen the GOP majority in the U.S. House now, just in case a Democratic surge in the November general election. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick was asked about it and signaled support.
I'll just say that if we can pick up Republican seats in Texas to make Congress stronger after what the Democrats did to our country in the last 4 years, I want more Republican congressmen.
Republicans currently hold 25 of the state's 38 seats in Congress. We saw something similar locally here in Tarrant County. For more on the upcoming special session, we're speaking with State Representative Nicole Collier. She's represented District 95, stretching across Tarrant County since 2013, including Forest Hill and major parts of Fort Worth. Representative Collier joins us this morning. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. Wow, it seems time has flown by. You've been in the ledge a long time now. But look, special session is coming up. It's not on a call yet, but we're widely anticipating congressional redistricting may be a topic down the line. What do you think about that? Will it happen? Are you expecting it?
We're all hearing the same thing. We're hearing that redistricting is going to be on the call. There's a potential for it. The thing we were hearing is going to be from Houston. You know, it would be the members in Houston, Sylvester Turner's, the late Sylvester Turner's seat,
right.
Al Green's seat. But the issue with that is that it's not just those 2 seats. It would impact all 38 seats, because if you're going to do some shuffling, all of them are potentially up for change once that process starts.
Yeah, of course, they're looking at the South Texas, also Rio Grande Valley, where Republicans have made some gains. Probably possibility up here in North Texas with Julie Johnson's seat, who knows. Incumbents will feel like the maps are already stretched to the max. Is that what you're hearing?
I mean, we did redistricting. We just did redistricting. It's mid-year, mid-time for the redistricting. We have more time before we are supposed to go back and do it. They are only doing it to change the rule. They're doing it to change the outcome of the upcoming election. They want to basically rig it to where they can ensure that Republicans win. And so the only way you do that is if you redraw the lines to be in your favor.
Yeah.
So
possibility of a Democratic walkout again is
oh no, I mean, I haven't heard anything about that. I plan to, appear. Again, it's not on the call right now.
It's not, right.
But I have no intention right now to miss that special session.
But how controversial are these moves? I mean, you represent Tarrant County, just went through this on the local level. What were the lessons from that you took away?
Well, I mean, anything can happen. I mean, the lessons I learned is that the people who are in charge are going to do whatever they need to do to stay in charge. So that means that we need to show up in terms of voters. Voters need to show up and let their elected official know how they feel and where they stand on these issues. And they need to show up during the hearings, but they also need to show up at the ballot.
The special session beginning on July 21st, it's called, one of the big ticket item is THC, and whether to ban it or to somewhat legalize and regulate it. Do you have a strong opinion on what the future of THC should be in the state?
Yeah, well, I voted against that bill during the regular session. I felt like it went too far. You know, I'm not opposed to regulation. I understand that we have the compassionate use program where it's highly regulated in terms of access to THC. And then there's the Delta 9, which is the hemp products that is in competition. So I think that there is a way to have a balance between regulation and access. So I think that that's one of the goals that I see, is to try to have some type of balance. But then again, I would be okay if we didn't do anything and just left the veto in place.
And any other items on the call you think are interesting or stand out? What's just your feeling about returning to Austin? I'm sure you had summer plans that are now changed.
Well, you know, returning to Austin, it wasn't really a great session in terms of some of the bills that were passed. I would coin it as a morality session. It was based on the moral beliefs of those in charge. So I'm not looking forward to having to go back and if those are issues that are on the call, I'm not looking forward to that. But if we're going to do some work for the people of Texas that's going to improve health and access to economic opportunities, I'm all for that.
All right, we'll find out more in a couple weeks, I guess. Representative Nicole Collier, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
From the Department of Justice to the Austin Capitol, coming up, a one-on-one with Aaron Reitz, a member of the Trump administration, jumping into the race for Texas Attorney General. Plus this.
Think of AI as just a super assistant.
Small businesses learn more about artificial intelligence, the potential impacts on consumers, ahead on Lone Star Politics.
In 2026, Texans will choose a new lawyer for the state. For the first time since 2014, the Texas Attorney General seat is open. The office holder now, Ken Paxton, is instead challenging U.S. Senator John Cornyn for his place in Washington, D.C. Several people are running for the seat, including State Senator and oil businessman Mays Middleton from Galveston, and from Houston, Joan Huffman. She is one of the longest-serving members of the Texas Senate and a former prosecutor and judge in Harris County. Plus, there's Aaron Reitz, who heads the U.S. Justice Department's Office of Legal Policy. Now, Reitz is also the former chief of staff of Senator Ted Cruz and former aide to outgoing Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. I spoke with him about his first statewide run.
I think that what Texans want and deserve is exactly what President Trump said about me, is a true MAGA attorney and a warrior for the Constitution. When he nominated me for my DOJ post last year, that's how he described me and my work. And I think that Texans want somebody who's going to be a true MAGA attorney and a warrior for the Constitution. Attorney General Paxton has served our state well for the past decade plus, and I don't want to see someone else take that mission-critical role and take their foot off the gas. I think it'll disserve Texas. I think it'll disserve our country. So we need a real battle-tested warrior in that spot. I think I'm the guy to do it.
Am I hearing you correctly, though, that you're looking to continue what Paxton has done? It will be a more continuation as opposed to radical change of what his office has been doing?
Yeah, I think that that's a fair description. Look, I think that there's a reason why Ken Paxton is absolutely dominant in the polls right now. It's because he has proven himself over the years to be a champion for the Constitution, a champion for law and order, and a champion for justice. And now Texas Republican primary voters are pretty clear, if the public polling is accurate, which I think it is, that they strongly prefer him to go represent them in Washington. And so I want to really keep my foot on the gas and continue pressing in on all the major issues, whether it's election integrity, border security, the Second Amendment, protecting our kids, parental rights, you name the issue.
And while Paxton was in office, he was infamously impeached by the Texas House. In 2023, it kind of dominated the news headlines.
Yeah.
How do you think about that whole thing?
Yeah, look, I spent almost 3 years with Attorney General Paxton, and we had to litigate on impeachment-related issues for my entire tenure there before I left to go serve as Senator Ted Cruz's chief of staff. But look, I think that the impeachment with Ken Paxton was a total sham. I think it was unjust. I think that in the absence of any legal legs to take him out, a highly coordinated, well-funded political hit job was led against him. And at the end of the day, look, he was ultimately vindicated. He's been vindicated in state and federal court. His investigation, the Justice Department put out a statement a few months ago saying that they were dropping his investigation. And so, look, I stand with Paxton on that issue.
The knock on you from your other opponents may be that they have more experience than you. So we have Mays Middleton is in the race. He's an oil company executive, was in the Texas House before he's now in the Texas Senate. And then Joan Huffman used to be a district court judge down in Harris County, and now she's a longtime state senator. What's your response if they come on and say, you're not experienced enough?
Yeah, look, I don't buy the premise at all. My competition is going to try to frame me in a certain way. That's their right to do so. But I would stand my record and work experience up against theirs any day of the week. Look, my time, we've talked primarily about my service under President Trump and Attorney General Bondi at the Justice Department. We've talked about my time as Senator Cruz's chief of staff for a couple years. We've talked about my time as Ken Paxton's deputy for 3. But my work experience, I spent 5 years on active duty in the United States Marine Corps, leading Marines. I'm an Afghanistan war veteran. I spent several years in private practice. I was a law clerk for now Chief Justice Jimmy Blacklock. And during all of that time, and in particular my time at DOJ, in the Senate, and at the AG's office, as I've said, I have litigated, investigated, defended, appealed, and done all of the work on all of the major issues that Texans care about. I'm the only one in this race who has actual experience doing the work that's expected out of a state AG.
What will be your priorities if you win election here?
So I think when I win and get sworn in January of 2027, I think the most important thing for at least the first 2 years of my tenure as AG is going to be deep integration with the Trump administration to advance the law and order and justice agenda here in Texas. And I think that has applicability on all the major issues: election integrity, border security, the deportation operations, cutting back on these sort of far left-wing DAs that are letting crimes run rampant, especially in our urban centers. And so you need a state AG who is going to be deeply partnered with the Trump administration, who knows how to navigate those channels.
Okay, Gromer, so Aaron Reitz has been a top-level staffer in all these different levels. Senator Middleton and Senator Huffman, they have been on the ballot and they've won races on the ballot.
Right.
How's that going to play out? Does Aaron Reitz have a chance?
Well, he's trying to cast himself as a MAGA warrior attorney. Those are his words, and he keeps saying Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, Ken Paxton. So he's aiming for the MAGA vote, the very conservative vote in the Texas Republican primary. Mm-hmm. If he feels like if he can get in that lane, that's the lane for success. Tough thing to do against quality competition, though.
The biggest license plate change Texas has seen in decades happens this week. We talk about how it impacts dealers and drivers. That's next. So also this week, Texas puts an end to paper tags. Starting Tuesday, the DMV will no longer issue temporary paper license plates. This comes after an NBC5 investigation exposed how crooks made millions selling fake paper tags. So now when you buy a car, you will leave the dealer with a regular metal license plate. We spoke to Don Herring, chair of the North Texas Automobile Dealers Association. He says they've been trained to register metal tags directly to car buyers.
This is a huge change. We've been dealing with paper tags or some form of paper tags for the entire time I've been in the car business, which goes back to the 80s.
Staff at the DMV say there might be some initial challenges in handling a large volume of metal plate transactions, but they hope to work through those issues quickly without impacting car buyers. So how did this all come about? NBC5 senior investigator Scott Friedman will have more on NBC5 News at 10 tomorrow night. And you can go right now to nbcdfw.com to check out his series Paper Tag Nation. And now we have an update on far-reaching technology already being rolled out throughout the country, artificial intelligence.
Phil, this summer, Washington will debate it. Senator Ted Cruz wants to stop states, including Texas, from regulating artificial intelligence technology.
Instead, he wants all those decisions to happen on a national level. In exchange, states who don't regulate AI will get access to a $500 million deployment fund. He wants this to be the case for at least the next 10 years, more to come on that. But already in Texas lawmakers passed a law hoping to get companies to be responsible with AI, creating consumer protections and a council to oversee the technology. A Southlake Republican, Giovanni Capriglione, authored the law. And this past week, more than 50 North Texas small business owners took part in a workshop teaching them how to use AI. It was put on by the Richardson Chamber of Commerce, Google, and the Texas Association of Business. Now, afterward, we spoke with Glenn Hammer, CEO of the Texas Association of Business, about how this will impact jobs.
This was all positive in how, the tools could reduce administrative costs. For example, you could put all of your HR manuals into, say, Gemini, and then it makes it very easy for any employee of a small businesses to understand exactly what the policies are of that company. So in terms of like reducing all the administrative mumbo jumbo that no sane person enjoys, AI is very powerful.
Drill down on that for me, because some people may see that and say, well, there are people who work in HR and marketing that AI could eliminate their jobs. So what is the workforce going to look like in the future?
It's going to make everyone more productive. Think of AI as just a super assistant. It's going to make, if you're in accounting, it'll make your job more productive. I mean, the only way really to increase wealth is to become more productive. So every human being that uses AI tools is going to have the ability to do a lot more than they otherwise could. At the end of the day, it will create a lot of new jobs. It'll change jobs, but it will make all of us more productive, and it will make it so much easier for small businesses to compete with larger businesses.
You paint a very rosy picture of the future of AI, but isn't it up to people like you, people in the business community, to make sure that the people aren't left behind, right? Isn't it about how we use AI? It's not just this thing is going to exist and everybody gets richer. We have to use it correctly.
Absolutely. AI literacy is going to be a prerequisite for small business success. Just the way you think about the state of Texas, and really every state says you need to be able to read by the time you exit third grade. Every small business is going to need to understand how to effectively use AI tools to survive.
Lawmakers are taking steps to make sure that AI is used properly and is a success story. What else should they be doing, and what do you think about what they've done so far?
So in terms of where we go next, in my opinion, it's making sure that we're working with the chambers across the state of Texas. So every small business in Texas has AI literacy, but I would say in our K through 12 system, we need to make sure that our students are literate and are able to use AI at an early age as well. And a big part of that is understanding the right prompts to ask. AI really can be a co-pilot when it's properly used. And when properly used, in my opinion, it makes all humans more productive.
And late this past week, the Supreme Court made some key decisions, including upholding a Texas law requiring age verification for porn websites. The adult entertainment industry argued it restricted their online speech. For more information on other rulings, including Trump's quest to end birthright citizenship, log on to nbcdfw.com. Gromer, there's so much interesting stuff going on with technology.
Yeah, really a whole lot. You know, AI, technology, all of that has to be. We'll see where it all goes. I was surprised at Ted Cruz's position. That's going to be a talk or much debate over that. But you know what? I feel the summer used to be a time when you could take a break, when things slowed down. Not so much these days. Huh?
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not. That's all the time we have. Stay tuned for Meet the Press with Kristen Welker.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you back here next Sunday for more Lone Star Politics, and have a safe and happy 4th of July.